From LEX 18, your official UK sports station for Big Blue Nation, this is BBN Tonight, presented by UK Federal Credit Union.
Good evening and welcome to BBN Tonight. I'm Anna Tarullo.
And I'm Keith Farmer. Tonight we'll talk about Kentucky baseball's run in the SEC tournament and a big payday for Luke Fortner.
That's right. Plus the latest on the men's tennis players who are competing as individuals in the NCAA tournament. And I had the chance to sit down with Nate Sestina, so you'll hear what he's up to now.
Yeah, but we begin with sad news tonight. Former University of Kentucky basketball player Reggie Warford has died at the age of 67 after a long battle with numerous illnesses. He had 2 heart transplants and kidney transplants throughout his life and passed away peacefully this morning. In terms of his basketball career, Warford played at Drakesboro High School in Muhlenberg County before being recruited to come to Kentucky, where he was the first black player recruited by Joe B. Hall and the first black UK basketball player to graduate from the university.
He was a 6'1" guard and played in 50 games for the Cats from 1972 through 76. That means Warford was a member of the 1976 NIT championship team and part of the 75 team that finished as the NCAA tournament runners-up. His senior season was his personal best. He played in 28 games that year, scoring 182 points.
Warford went on to become an assistant coach at Pittsburgh, Iowa State, and Long Beach State. He was the head coach of the Harlem Globetrotters in 2003, and he returned home to coach his sons Grant and Tyler in Muhlenberg County. Warford was inducted into the KHSAA Hall of Fame in 2019. He is survived by his 2 sons as well as his wife, Marissa.
John Calipari was one of the first non-family members to learn of Warford's passing, and he wrote this message to the BBN. He said, Reggie Warford passed away this morning at home, surrounded by his loving family. I know how much Reggie meant to Kentucky and how he inspired others. Reggie and I worked together at Pitt in the 80s and have remained friends. I'm going to miss my brother. May God bless you, Reggie. And we were fortunate enough to work with Reggie on our Joe B. Hall tribute episode after Coach's passing back in January.
Yeah, Warford, along with Kenny Walker and Jack Givens, sat down together inside Memorial Coliseum to honor their head coach. That's when Warford told this story about how and why he chose to become a Wildcat, even though he was originally committed to play at Austin Peay.
This is not a history lesson, but I do want to go back, though, because at the time when Coach Hall was recruiting you,
yes,
man, it was tough decisions you had to make, just simply because of the way things were, particularly in the southern part of the country, but right here at the University of Kentucky. But somehow he convinced you to come here.
The truth be known, that Coach Hall had recruited myself and the Player of the Year in Kentucky, a gentleman by the name of Jerry Thrusten from Owensboro Senior High. And
he beat me in the state tournament, man. I
didn't like him.
Didn't have to bring that up, but go ahead.
But we were good friends and had agreed to come to Kentucky together. Coach Hall came to my banquet, my high school banquet, where I signed the national letter. And then a couple of days later, we thought Jerry was going to join us. And he had been getting calls about what would happen to him if he came to Kentucky.
Yeah.
I didn't get as many calls because, quite frankly, our phone was on a party line. And there were like 7 other families sharing that phone. So we didn't... I
didn't have time, man.
No, I didn't. But Coach Hall recruited me and convinced me that he liked the way I shot the ball and that I was going to be a great offensive player. Now, I told him that I'd visited Indiana, and Bobby Knight had told me that he was going to turn me into the greatest defensive guard in the Big Ten.
I like the offensive side.
Yeah.
Another thing he did,
Another
thing he did, though, was that he brought Leonard Hamilton in to the program, and Leonard had actually recruited you at Austin Peay some to try to get you to come down there. How important was it that he brought Leonard Hamilton in?
Well, it was important because I would have committed to Leonard Hamilton out of Austin Peay, but Leonard said, man, Kentucky wants you. He said, you got to go.
Yeah.
And he, today, as we spoke with him
today.
We learned all the reasons why. He thought I would be someone that could withstand the pressures of being at Kentucky. That I could contribute maybe a little bit here and there, but that I would leave in good standing. And I was a good guy for Coach Hall, who was friends with his coach, Lay Kelly, to be here. So it was an easy choice when he said, well, if I come down and speak at your banquet, would you sign? And my high school coach said, of course.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a choice.
So he didn't even have the choice, right?
That decision made for him.
So good to hear, like, you know, just the stories of how it came about that he became a Wildcat and that he was able to withstand some of the pressures and things that he had to go through back then during that time. And during that same conversation, Warford brought up his own health issues, acknowledging that he'd had his own struggles since his time in Lexington, but those health scares actually brought him closer to Coach Hall in the later years of their lives. Listen to this.
The one thing that I got to tell you, because I've had some health issues myself, is that in the latter days of Coach Hall's life, we talked a lot. And a lot of the conversation is about living and dying. You know, when you're a coach, your family become widows.
Right.
Your children don't get to see you much. Your wife, they share you with the state or the university or your players. And so you spread sort of thin. Coach Hall talked to me about what it was like for him in that situation and how glad he was now to be sort of enjoying the fruits of his labor later on in life. For me, he started out as a coach, became a mentor, and ultimately a friend.
We were so grateful for that conversation at the time, and even more so now. And we're thinking about all of Warford's friends and family members. Funeral arrangements are pending at this time.